Okay, I wasn't planning to sit down and film this like at all, but I just have to get some things off my chest at this point and hope that it gets through somewhere, somehow, because I'm literally just so very tired of seeing this shit happen over and over and over and over again. I hope other people are tired of this kind of stuff as well. So sorry for those of you who just want like the entertaining content, like that will resume next video, I promise. I've never ranted before, but here we go. So yesterday I saw that again, James Charles was trending on top in the US on Twitter, and I wasn't going to look at it because I figured it was either for some like YouTube giveaway news or like some drama that I didn't want to get caught up in, because why? But I saw that, oh, yet another allegation of James Charles inappropriately messaging with yet another minor. This is important stuff to talk about, and by inappropriately messaging, I mean the allegations and the screen caps are of James sending lewd or like lewd adjacent photos, making flirtatious remarks, or like allegedly speaking in a sexual manner to this child and to others. And by others, I'm referring to the other children that are ages, like I believe 15 to 17 years old, that have come forward sharing similar stories about James Charles. And this doesn't just apply to him, by the way. These are things that children have come forward about in reference to other influencers and other celebrities. And they were all fans, by the way, and that does matter. So there were yet another round of grooming accusations, and some people calling James a predator or exhibiting predatory behavior, etc., etc., and claims were made that the child lied about his age to James in the Snapchats, and so on and so on. If it sounds familiar, that's literally because this happened with another child literally like a month ago, and like a few months before that, and like maybe a year before that. I believe there have been like 8 or 9 people come forward sharing these stories in the last couple of years. And again, this is not just isolated to James Charles allegations. These are things that have happened with other influencers, particularly people on this platform. So is every single story true? Like, you'll have to decide that for yourself if you want to. And like, did all of the children lie about their age? That would seem like a fairly elaborate scheme, which is probably highly unlikely, and also I think ignores perhaps the bigger issue that he was, and others have, inappropriately messaged fans, period. Like, there's a power dynamic here, and we're talking about children. I'm gonna read something I tweeted after seeing why James Charles in particular was trending. As a survivor of multiple assaults, seeing another allegation of grooming, sexual assault by an influencer, and blame the victim support for the abuser because they have a high sub count is vile. Y'all can literally choose anyone else to stan, yet break your backs to lift up the worst. I think like we can literally choose anyone else to throw the fandom behind, or like to throw our money at, to throw our time at with viewing their content. Yet why do we continue to eagerly and aggressively stand those who continue to demonstrate an abuse of power? In like so many instances, and there are so many things that are happening right now, especially in the creator community. Like, look, like you guys know I'm not a drama channel, and I'm not going to get into like the receipts and the conspiracies and the drama of what big influencer has or hasn't spoken up, or break down the sequence of events here, because like I'm just tired, y'all. Like, I'm tired. Like, aren't you? Like, aren't we tired of having the same exact conversations, seeing the same abusive power dynamic, the same manipulation of fans? Like, is anyone else tired? If we're tired, doesn't that mean this shit has gone on too long? Like, doesn't that mean too many people continue to turn a blind eye to some really, truly dangerous behavior? Like, doesn't that mean we continue to platform and celebrate those at the top who've done very problematic things? Like, if we weren't continuing to hold them up at the top, then no one would care, because they wouldn't be a discussion, like if they weren't already at the top, you know what I mean? Now, like, I have done some commentary where I thought thought it was important to discuss topics people always seem to back away from. And while doing pieces on influencers like is not my main objective at all, y'all, I want to make films and like entertaining content for y'all. But like I've moved in these circles with these people, these influencers, long enough, and I can't always ignore what I see as like the greater issues, at least to me, especially if the topics continue to harm children or like entire communities, and no one wants to talk about it because it doesn't like pull in the views it used to. And I think like it's funny because I just posted a couple of days ago a deep dive documentary and video essay about a myriad of very problematic behavior from influencers like David Dobrik, the Kardashians, James Charles, Nikita Dragun, and like other celebrities. Like, and it's very good. And entertaining. It's funny too. You should go watch it. I'll link it down below. But like, dude, I am tired as a creator, as an influencer, as someone trying to contribute things that are like helpful. I'm tired. It's a weird thing when like actually abusive, dangerous, systemically harmful behavior is grouped in as like the latest tea and then forgotten about the next day because someone like releases a new mascara so all is right in society. Like that's weird to me. So we'll just get this out of the way. I'm a survivor of multiple sexual assaults, from having been groomed as a fucking child to assaulted by a celebrity of power in public with like actual witnesses who laughed it off, to more violent assault that I'm not going to get into right now. And this shit has got to stop. Like if it doesn't, then at this point I'm wondering like, what is the point? Like if influencers keep being handed a pass in life that says, okay, like no problem, go ahead and like abuse your power and we'll make sure you keep trending and sell out of your merch and your product releases and get massively funded shows by the very platforms that ignore this stuff, then like what actually is the point anymore? Like of like any of it. Like, why call for accountability for 5 minutes over issues that can literally cause trauma that leads to a lifetime of pain or confusion or anger or indifference for the victims? Because at this point, it feels like it might start to fall on the shoulders of every single person who dismissed their trash, manipulative, bullying, harassing behavior and kept like the praise and the money flowing in. Like, am I wrong here? I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a mood, y'all, and I'm just getting this off my chest. And then the thing is, like, then we're gonna turn around and blame the victims? Is that what we're still doing that? It's 2021 and that's still a thing? Like, let me tell you real quick what it's like to be sexually harassed, assaulted, abused, and blamed by ignorant troglodytes who are so desperate to tear down the victims and throw their money at the abuser. Like, you know, recently I had a family member tell me that I should be ashamed of myself for being sexually assaulted. You know what happened after that? Cut the fuck off. Like, literally done. Instant, over, next. Like, now it took me hella years to get to like the mental, emotional place in my head and like working through all this trauma to realize, like, you know what? If you're going to blame me, the survivor, for the violence against me that destroyed part of my soul, then you can kiss my surviving ass and live that miserable life somewhere else. I'm done. And like, I say that with like all the disrespect I can muster up at this point, because blaming the victim ain't it, sis. Like, it just ain't it, and I don't know why we keep seeing this happening in defense of people who are abusing their power when we literally don't have to continue standing celebrities and influencers who abuse their power, especially over children. Now, children are not to blame. It is like the adult's responsibility to be a damn like adult. Like, what is the confusion? Like, I don't know what the confusion is there, but like, do you want me to get into the reasons why a child might entice an adult? Because I believe that was like some of the excuses thrown out in these situations, that the children were like trying to flirt with and try to bait out or something. And it's like, do you want me to explain why they're still a child and that alone means they do not have the mental, emotional, developmental tools to solidify to to even fully understand what they're doing. Do I need to get into the fact that influencers should not be trying to hook up with their fans? Like, especially when the fans are underage, because of that extreme power dynamic that often leads to the fan consciously or like subconsciously feeling pressured to do things that they might not ordinarily do. Like drink a bunch of alcohol that the adult purchased for you and feel pressured to sleep with them for a vlog. Like, do I need to talk about the power dynamic of coming onto your fans and how that is a problem? Is it just me? Or what happened to like, I'm gonna ask for ID? You know, when people are saying things like, oh, well, the child lied about their age, or, you know, they're trying to bait somebody, it's like, well, then do we also need to have a conversation that we have set up this precedence where children think in order for them to succeed in life is to get clout, and in order to get clout is to try to like entrap somebody in order to do it, except they're children, they don't even understand what that even means. Like, there are just so many nuances here that I feel like are being consistently missed. So like, yeah, man, like shit is unfair. You gotta guard who you talk to when you're famous. And I know people don't like that. But like, this is everything you signed up for. So if you keep chasing those checks, then you're more than capable of checking those IDs, point blank motherfucking period. I don't, like, it's just, it's also like on those accepting apologies instantly that aren't theirs to accept. Like, it's not yours. It's literally not yours. Like, stop. I don't know why people keep doing this, and I feel like that perpetuates the problem. Like, I know no one asked, but I think it would go a long way for people to take a damn step back when they see a pattern of ongoing problematic behavior. And like, I hate using the word problematic at this point because it feels like so overused and just sort of like equates everything and like every issue as being equal when they aren't. But I think it would go a long way if, when we witness something problematic, to like take a step back from that influencer or that celebrity and like just observe, instead of like daftly standing and instantly defending for no justifiable reason and condemning the victims and siding with the one with the most power because they have the clout and the high sub count. Like, why not just like not do that? Like, why not just observe? Like, think to yourself, okay, this influencer has had many things come out about them. This influencer has issued several apologies and PR draft statements. Like, victims have come out with real life experiences. Maybe I should pause and keep the fandom at bay. And if you really, for whatever reason, feel an attachment to that influencer, like, then observe at a distance. And I should point out, or like, at least in my opinion, I feel like observation should take time. Like, it takes time for people to make right their wrongs, right? It takes time for people to learn and to grow and to put that in practice for a while to show like a pattern of like actual learning, understanding, and change. These things take time, but people just want instant. Oh, they abuse their power, they abuse a child, this, that, or the other. Let's forgive them immediately so that we can like just get on with it, you know what I mean? If you think that I would instantly dismiss what someone like David Dobrik did because he sat on the floor and said some words that his PR team probably assisted him with, then like, obviously that assumption would be wrong. Like, when someone has racked up literally years of dangerous or abusive or racist behavior, some words in a short video or like a notepad apology buried off platform aren't going to matter a whole lot to me right away until I observe over time if they've actually taken steps for change and accountability and worked on changing the behavior. Then it all starts to form a complete package to where then I'm going to form a complete opinion about the situation. But people rarely do that, and it's business as usual. And guess what? They didn't do the work, they don't change, and here we are all over again having the same tired conversations. Like, and I think what's worse is in the process of like this instant forgiveness, and I'm not saying forgiveness is a bad thing, but there's a time and place for how things work without opening the door for the same problems and like behavior to keep happening. But what's worse is their forgiveness comes at the expense of the actual victims, where forgiveness means them tearing down the victims or blaming the victim, shaming the victim, and erasing the victim. And like, I think people don't stop to realize that is a huge reason why victims often never come forward. Some people out here excuse and like forgive everyone and everything except the victims. Like, what in the actual cinnamon toast is that? If folks want to distance themselves and like spend some time investing in like other creators who aren't arrogant or manipulative, and then observe what they do over the next few years and decide later that like, then cool, like come back when they've shown they're not diving headfirst into terrible behavior or bigotry or racism or romanticizing their own privilege while crying and bitching about the world not bending to their prejudices and privilege. Like, it's tired, y'all. So I also want to share a tweet from Smoky Glow. Now, if you don't know her, she's a beauty and commentary YouTuber and like a very kind person. And she was very kind in supporting me and did a sort of deep dive into my own video discussing my experience of racism with an influencer when it's, you know, like hardly anybody wanted to talk about the things I shared because like, OMG, it has to do with racism. And we don't really talk about the R word because it gets less clicks, which is a weird thing all in and of itself. Like, if that's not a deeper commentary on like the actual effects of systemic racism, but that's a different conversation. So she tweeted this. Reminder, if you are a survivor of sexual assault of any form, it's okay to log offline. The recent situations on YouTube have been incredibly triggering for me personally, and I'm positive I'm not alone. Please take care of yourselves. And I thought that that was a very important thing to note that also goes ignored oftentimes, is that we are seeing so many instances of this type of thing popping up with people who've been like celebrated in the spotlight for so long, and they're sitting at the top and all of these things. And like, there are those of us who have actually been through experiences where this is triggering or kind of dredges up that trauma again, and we do need to be able to protect ourselves, know that we're not alone. You guys are not alone if you've experienced anything remotely like any of this, but it's important to realize that sometimes we do need to log off, and I think it's a good thing to protect yourself from. And honestly, if people start just logging off a little bit more when they see this type of stuff, then that would also mean they're not logging on to continue to like view and engage with and celebrate. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but whatever. Like YouTube, I'm gonna need you to do better. Like, seriously, like, whether it's intentional or not, and I really hope it's not, like, but for many of us, it feels kind of culpable at this point for continuing to throw like all the money, the trending tabs, the praise, the exposure, the shows, and the deals at these people who've not only allegedly abused children or said and done racist things, but like effectively abuse and manipulate the children in their audience by continuing to grossly wield their power dynamic over them and have these children so daftly loyal to them that they break their backs trying to instantly defend disgusting behavior. Like, subscriber count does not equal character count. I wish more people would understand that. And like, you don't have to stan super problematic people when there are so many who are not, who can provide you with amazing quality content. And you know what? If you are standing or following a creator who is unproblematic that you love, leave it in a comment right now. Everyone just leave in a comment someone that you love that maybe isn't getting as much like viewership. I would rather like lift those people up. I just think like, just because someone can do a winged liner or makes cool vlogs or gives stuff away for free, like, doesn't mean they can't be racist or sexist or insensitive during a pandemic or like abuse their power. We need to remember that. And like, y'all know, I don't like calling people themselves trash. Like, that's not what this is about. Like, it's the behavior, right? And I want to make sure that that is always clear. Like, it's the behavior, but you know, like, y'all really trying my patience with this shit, and like, it's not okay. And like, platforming those demonstrating this behavior on such a huge level all the time is not okay. I will say this, like, James Charles, Dom, David Dobrik, Onision, Shay Carl, Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, like, y'all see something in common here? At what point do we stop giving all the privilege and praise and like let it slide excuses to these men, to abusive or abusive adjacent men? And I'm gonna say something that some people probably don't want to hear. Like, in a lot of ways, I felt like people love abusive men. Like, there, I said it. Like, people love abusive men. Like, no matter what the hell they do, whether the abuse is towards women or other men or other gender identities, like, people love abusive men. I wonder, like, why the hell do they keep getting platforms on such a big scale? Like, why are there still so many running Hollywood? Like, why are so many on my screen? Like, why do so many run companies and wield their power over their female employees? Because this happens like all the time. We've seen the stories, and like, we just keep making excuses for them. So like, grooming, excuses. Racist, excuses. Statutory, excuses. Like, get them drunk, no consent, excuses. Like, excuses. Protect. I don't know why that if you keep protecting problematic, victimizing, trauma-inducing, harmful behavior, then you're going to get more of the same. Like, you're going to get more, like, guess what? Like, problematic, victimizing, trauma-inducing, harmful behavior. So like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just in a mood. So like, at this point, what's the point? Like, what's the point of the fake outrage if folks keep standing it 24 hours later? Like, why even bother calling for accountability when you continue to choose the problem over the solution? And I'm not like saying you to you guys specific, you know what I mean. But the solution being, literally choose somebody else. Literally anyone. Like, literally choose anyone else. Like, if it's going to be such a continual dangerous problem, choose someone else to stan. There are about like 5 billion options to choose from, all shapes, sizes, styles, views. So like, just like, pick one. I don't care. Just someone who isn't doing trash things. I kind of feel like keep that same energy or throw it all away and stop the momentary outrage and just let like anyone and everyone who wants to engage in grooming or racism or bigotry or deeply problematic behavior to continue on as they were, you know, like business as usual. Throw some products at everyone, make their coin, offend at-risk communities, and keep it pushing. But if people really truly give a shit about anything changing, like literally anything changing for the better, then seriously, like, we have to pick better people to celebrate, and trust me, they're out there. Like, as Bailey Sarian would say, get better idols. They exist. She's one of them. But like, oh wait, I forgot. Stand-up quality influencers rarely ever get any press, rarely get on the trending tabs, and rarely ever get the clout that everyone seems like so obsessed with. So like, how the hell are the majority of people going to discover real, true quality talent as well as real, true quality influence worth giving a shit about? It's not easy because they're not promoted the same. Like, if they apologize, then what happens? trending, like views, clout, trending, press, like Cardi B was right, like press. Like the moment the apology tour bus comes rolling around the corner and parks in the stall, it's on trending, and like stacking in the views, the subs, the engagement, the clout, the monetization oftentimes. Like they get rewarded for doing the very basic thing that any person should do after abusing their platform and their audience and their communities and beyond, and that's like apologize. Now most of the time people don't even do that, or they, you know, they post again in like some obscure place where no one really like sees it, so as not to notify the rest of their followers that something happened in case those followers aren't aware. Like you can have all of that. It's so tired. And like the irony, right? Like the irony of abusing your influence, abusing your followers, only to turn around and rectify the abuse in the most obscure way possible so that the very followers you abuse with your harmful behavior aren't alerted to the full scale of either who you are as a person, if that's really you, or who your actions show you to be. Like, I don't believe people should be praised and awarded with trending tabs and higher ad revenues because they brought in a PR team to help them craft a statement that anyone should make if they seriously endanger children or offend entire communities of people. Like, nah, sis, there's just too much work to be done. I just need to see you doing the work and correcting it, not doing it again. You know what I mean? Again, I'll link my video essay documentary about like David Dobrik and other influencers' abuse of power. It's a lot funnier than this video, I promise. Like, sorry, this isn't like what I normally post here. It was just too triggering for me not to discuss this and like get my thoughts out. So yeah, I love you all. I'll see you soon. Are you guys down for like true crime mystery, but done, you know, like SWOOP style? Like, let me know in the comments. Yeah, love you guys. I'll see you very, very soon with the next video. All right. Peace out. SWOOP!